everybody. I'm Denny Levinson, the County Executive, and thank you for coming. This is the second of a three-part series of talks to explain exactly where we're going in this county. This is about economic development, and we're taking a different approach. This is the state of New Jersey, and economic development has always been from the top down. It was always generated in Trenton. Been generated in Trenton. They would put an authority in charge. We know that Frida there for a while, it was Jersey Shore, Curtis Bashaw. And then when Curtis left, Tom Carver came in, and the emphasis was transportation. And there was no continuity. A new governor may come in and decide that the tourism district doesn't work for Atlantic City. Now, for those that you are used to, everything seemed to be Atlantic City. Development, all the ideas seem to be focused there. And we believe that this should be a county-wide initiative. There should be diversification throughout the whole county. After all, look what happened in Atlantic City when the number one industry hit the skids. It hurt everybody all over the county. So what we try to do, what we're going to try to do, is to listen to you. This is going to be a little different. This is going to be from, not really the bottom, this is from the county, our initiative. That's why we're taking this on the road, to listen to you, to go online, to give us your ideas. That's why the microphones are set up here. We want to hear from you what this county needs. And, you know, we know what it needs. We need diversification. But look at the foundation that we have in education, in medical. We have tourism. You know, we're not going to say, oh, poop tourism. We know how important it is. But we want to build upon that. We do have an industry that's still a $2.3 billion industry. It's down from 5-point-something billion, but we still have successful casinos that are making money, that take care of their employees, that care, and this is what we want to build on also. Now tomorrow we're going to be in Hamilton at 6 o'clock to listen to them. This is the second part. Prior to this, we were in Atlanta Community College. And it is important that we understand that we're all in this together. We have a whole lot to build upon. And like I said, why is the county doing it? Well, we found a funding source, the ACUA, which by law we could take that money. And I don't want to say this is our last great effort. If this fails, we're in the big trouble. If this fails, we are certainly not as successful as we would think we would be. That's why we chose Angelos, which everybody
it rhymes.
mixes it up with Alan Angeloni, who has the restaurant here on Arctic Avenue, because he's never failed. We have somebody with 100% track record, totally successful in every place he's been and everything he's done. But he will make it clear to you, for us to be successful, we have to be in this together. We have to all understand how important this is. And just if they did get public input, think how different Atlantic City would be right now. Why I got into politics. You know, all of a sudden, casino gaming came here. And remember the reason for casino gaming. Who's going to tell me? To what?
The economy.
To revitalize what? To revitalize Atlantic City. So if you think revitalizing Atlantic City is building 13 palaces, putting 5, 6, and 7 restaurants inside, a barber shop, a lady salon, a shoe shop, everything you could possibly get out on the street, that's what did it. In other words, freestanding hotel and casino, that would be great. Imagine how the rest of the town would be thriving. But they wanted you to drive in and drive out. Come in on a Thursday, drive out on a Sunday night, and see you later. Never even see the beach or boardwalk. Never get outside and go to a restaurant or walk around. We want to keep you in there. We want you to spend your money inside. That certainly didn't revitalize Atlantic City. what it did was put a whole lot of money in certain people's pockets. Thriving businesses that were here for 100 years went under. Now, is it our fault? Well, we didn't have a say in that. That's the way things were. Now we have a say. We want to hear from you. We want you to be enthusiastic. We want you to work with us. We want to put away our petty problems and our petty differences. When after we're successful, we can go back to fighting with each other again. But right now, and by the way, this is what Tecumseh did, the greatest Indian that ever put on moccasins. He told the Indians, listen, they're coming to take our land. Let's stop fighting with each other. Let's all band together. They can't beat us. All of us stand together. And if we stand together, we will win. And when we get done, we can go back to our petty tribal differences. It didn't work out, by the way. But he most certainly was right. And maybe the words of Tecumseh will help this area. So with that, without further ado, Angelos, come on up here. I just want everybody to know how much we
Thank you, Dennis, for that wonderful introduction. I feel all that weight on my shoulders right now. I have not failed, but some of my clients have been more successful than others. But definitely, I did not come here to have failure on the back of Atlantic County. I'm excited to be here, delighted that we have so many of you to give us your input. I would like to say a few comments before we really turn it over to you, because this is your meeting, not my meeting. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce you to Dane Anderson, the project manager for this endeavor from Angelo Economics. Dane, would you? Secondly, there is a website that we would love to have your input. And it's www.atlanticcountyactionnow.com. You'll find a website for both a residential as well as a business survey. Take it as often as you like. We definitely count on your views, your opinions of what needs to happen. I have never in my professional career have been disappointed from public input. Whether you agree on what needs to be done about economic development or you disagree, we often find that even those that disagree have a different way of reaching to the same result. So the purpose of this meeting is to encourage you to speak your views, your mind about what you think should happen here in economic development. The more engaging that conversation is, I think the better we're all going to be at the very end. I would like to say that many people ask me about what is a good definition about economic development, and I have one of my own. I found it to be that it's really the difference between residents and citizens. And a resident is someone who pays their taxes, enjoys the quality of life that those taxes are able to afford in terms of schools and public places and transportation and parks and recreation. But a resident is likely to call your mayor or your county manager and complain about this and that not working well in your respective communities. A citizen, on the other hand, is a person that would spend a lot of their time and financial resources thinking more about how do we build a better community, how do we leave a better economy for future generations. They're not likely to call the politicians and complain. They're likely to call the politicians more often than citizens, coming up with solutions to a lot of the challenges. So that's what we hope to do here in the 4 or 5 months that we have left to complete this project. We want to turn many of the residents in this community to true citizens, to care about your community, to get involved. We have gotten so much input already, more than a couple hundred people we've talked to, one-on-one interviews, focus groups. Our first forum, public forum, was attended by 90 plus people. I think we have that many people here today as well. We want to be sure that we build a constituency around this project. Whether you disagree or agree with a strategy at the very end, please look at the forest and not look at the trees. There may be items here that not everyone is going to agree with. But overall, the intent of this project, the intent of the people who have hired Angelo Economics is to build a better future, to diversify your economy, to be sure that this is perhaps one of the last strategies that you are undertaking, because I think the product that we're going to give you is going to give you a pretty good guidance for the next 5 to 7 years. There's no need for anyone to spend more money doing an economic development strategy. I would rather see the money go towards implementation of the strategy. What I have noticed, and Angelo Economics has done over 680 of these projects around the country and the world. This is perhaps the most state-centric economic development environment that I've ever been to. That is not to say that we have not encountered the same problems or challenges in New York. We've done a project for Governor Pataki years ago, or other states where we have been engaged to do this type of work. But there is no local economic development entity here, and I firmly believe that the business of economic development belongs not at the state level, not at the capital. It belongs to Atlantic County, Atlantic City. So one of the first things that I've asked when I was interviewed was who is going to implement this strategy? Because I had done my homework and Googled every possible economic development partner and could not find a single organization charged with the marketing and truly economic development promotion of this region. And economic development is not community development, it's not about housing. And most of the organizations that I have seen online on their websites, they were really community development and housing development. We're talking about marketing and promoting, and we're talking about spending money to impress upon other people to invest in your community, to change their perception of your region. So I'm here to say that even if we had an economic development organization in place today, which I very much would like to see, because otherwise you're wasted your time and resources. If we don't have anyone to take charge and responsibility and be accountable to all of you for implementing this strategy, then our time is wasted and your money is wasted. So I am also here to say that economic development is everyone's business. And I've heard many of you discuss and bring forward your views of how the state has not done this or that. Well, it's not about the state. If we depended on the state of Texas to do economic development for the major cities in Texas, we will be bankrupt today. Arizona would be bankrupt. New Mexico will be bankrupt. Florida will be bankrupt. Economic development is local and it's everyone's business. It is your business. It's about investing in your communities, because if you don't invest first, how could you possibly expect someone else to invest here? So help us build support for this effort. We invite you all to, whether you agree with us or don't agree, any one of you that is interested in economic development has a place in this plan. So with that in mind, I'm thankful to all the support that we have been given by many of your residents and citizens in this county. I'm very thankful for the support that we have been given from the county and the opportunity to talk to as many of you. So this is yet another opportunity for you to express your views on how can we move this county forward. How can we maybe even come up with some ideas on helping the city move forward? Because I've been long enough in this business to know that you are as strong as your weakest link. And if the city is perceived to be a weak link, then there is no escape from it. The banks don't know Atlantic City from Atlantic County. They all put you in the same category. So we want to be sure that we look at an opportunity to help uplift everyone along with this strategic action plan, and I hope to count on your support. We're ready for the questions.
I think, Angela, to begin, if you would, thank you. If you would give everybody the timetable of when your report will be.
Sure. We have a very specific timetable. There are 3 phases to this project. One of it is pretty much complete, and that's the market assessment. That is more, quite frankly, for our own edification to understand what the data tells us, what you have told us through the interviews and stakeholder meetings that we have had. And that report is going to be presented to the county this week. The next report, it will be presented probably in about 45 days or so, and that will be the targeted industry assessment. We will select those targeted industries that make sense, in which you have competitive assets, where you have a competitive advantage, if you will, when one considers other communities. And the final report is going to come at the middle of July, end of July. It will be 120-page or so document. The previous reports will be just PowerPoint presentations, because quite honestly, at the end of the day, what you're going to want to read is the final report. What are the recommendations, and nobody's going to care about the data or everything else that we're going to be presenting today, or tomorrow, I guess, to the county. So that's the timetable. Through the website, you can reach myself, my colleague, anyone in our office. Please get involved. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public forum. It is being recorded, so everything is on the record, just to make that clear. We're going to ask that you please try to keep your comments to about 3 minutes. And if we give everybody the opportunity to have voice in the process, we can go back again and we can allow people to have seconds and potentially thirds, so the room keeps on filling up. Also, we are validating parking receipts at the front desk, so please make sure that you get that done so that you don't have to pay for your parking. When you come up, Joe, my colleague Joe and I will be walking around with the microphones. We are going to be hovering nearby because we want to make sure the microphones move throughout the audience. When you take the microphone, please introduce yourself and the town that you live in. Okay? Please, hands. Who would like to start off?
I have one, Max.
Okay.
My name is William Cheatham, citizen of Atlantic City. Now, I heard the county executive say we might succeed. Well, I say we're going to succeed.
That's right.
Period. Atlantic City has all the resources, really, it needed to be successful. Casinos came along. I was one of those that went up to North Jersey fighting to have casinos in Atlantic City. I admit that. But at the same time, I know that our leaders, many times over, not mention no names, don't pay too much attention to the citizens. The little letters they write, the little information they give, the little suggestions they give. It means nothing. They don't even hear it. I know what I'm talking about. I can show you the letters. Okay? Now I'm asking again. The county is forming this group to get together. I know there's going to be a committee formed after this, we're making decisions. And I wish and pray that Atlantic City's residents will be represented on these committees, period. In fact, all the citizens of this county need to be involved in the planning stage. Now, it can be successful, we all work together, I believe this. I believe NAFEC is going to be successful with all the problems they had in the beginning. That's going to be successful. Jobs are going to be created. Now, we had jobs in Atlantic City, and those jobs were taken by all the people in the county, benefited at the time when we were making big money. Now the money is thin. We all got to share that small pot. But if we all work together, we can all make a living. But I like some of the people from Atlantic City to get some of those jobs throughout the county when they come up. That's why I'm asking to be a part of those committees.
Thank you.
Not only we're going to succeed, we will succeed.
Don't be shy.
My name is Peter Liu from Linwood. Originally, I'm also from China and I traveled all over the world. Atlantic City is a very famous place in the world. It's known for what? Gambling. So it was the world capital of gambling. Now we need to switch. We need to change our ID. So we need a new identity. So I got several ideas, but I only allowed to have one for now, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is we need to form a new ID. The ID should be Game AC. So we want to make Atlantic City the world capital of games. What do we mean by games? So young people, like my son, they play video games. The games of chances and the games of skills. We need both. We need to have like a tournament, basketball, free throw tournament like this past weekend. It happened in Bogota. So that kind of games. The games that can attract young people, young generation. The people who, whenever you say, oh, we know there's a tournament going on somewhere, automatically they think that's going to be in Atlantic City. Atlantic City should build a well-known name called the capital, the world capital of games. And the rival can be something called the Game City. Okay, the games from all over the world. People want to do a tournament in their chess or marbles, whatever the game. They come to Atlantic City because this is a famous place for games. And the second thing, what Atlantic City is known in the world is because of the Monopoly games, the board games. Everyone knows about Atlantic City. They know the street name of the city. Exactly, see that? Yeah. So when I was young and little in China and we played monopolies in Chinese and we know those Atlantic City names, those are street names. So that's a big, our assets. We need to use it. Atlantic City has a name in the world and we never make through this gambling thing. Now it's the time to move on, to have more games. All kinds of games. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Atlantic County Freeholder John Risley. It's a pleasure to be here. Will any part of this report address all of our concerns, which is the possibility of gambling in North Jersey, such as Meadowlands or Monmouth Park or wherever? And will any of the part of the report address stats and figures that would help us attract large companies from coming here, making their investments here, knowing that this area is staunchly opposed to North Jersey casinos, which we are, and whether this particular report will emphasize with data what the negative would be with North Jersey casinos. That's my question.
We are going to have a comprehensive look at what needs to be done for economic development to move this economy forward. So yes, we're going to be looking at your casino industry. We're going to be looking at ways potentially of diversifying it. I'm not here to look at anything that you have and not try to either grow it or leverage it to get us to the new thing. Our task here is to create a diversified economy with high-paying jobs. We're going to look at plenty of data. We've looked at already at plenty of data. But what I can assure you is our work is going to focus on how to attract new businesses, how to help your existing businesses grow and feel supported. Because I have been in business for 32 years, and not as a consultant, I might add. For 12 of those years, I was the head of economic development for Austin, Texas, and we built a very strong program there, probably the strongest in the country for the last 20, 30 years. If you don't take care of your existing businesses, there's no chance in the world that you're going to be able to attract new businesses. Because at some point in time, there are also going to be existing businesses, and they want to be sure that they're going to be taken care of. We're also going to look at entrepreneurship. This community in this region was built with entrepreneurs. And in many parts of this region and the country, as we go around and do this type of work, a lot of people have forgotten that big companies were once small companies. And we're going to find ways of looking at incubators, potentially accelerators, maker place possibilities to attract entrepreneurs, co-working space companies, national companies that may come here to create an entrepreneurial culture and entrepreneurial environment that will move this economy forward.
Thank you. I was hoping also as well that there would be the necessary data in there that will enable us to continue the fight against North Jersey casinos and to try to convince those in government in Trenton that North Jersey casinos would be a negative for this area, and that would strengthen our position because we feel very united as an area that any of those deals would be a bad deal for this area. Thank you.
There are two issues to that coin, and I share your concern. One is, I definitely believe that any casinos going in northern Jersey will hurt your existing businesses here. Because just as casinos now have been built in Maryland and outside of Philadelphia, they've cut you off. One of the things that many of you talked about is a strategic location. And let me be frank with you. Everyone in the country claims that they have a strategic location. I've never been to a community that they didn't think that they were strategic. What I see is a community that is bordering an ocean, and we have never really explored those opportunities beyond that ocean, and only explored the beaches so far. And secondly, I see that your location is easily cut off to the north, to the south, to the west, and therefore we need to really find out what works in this region and what your market access is for many of the type of recommendations that we're going to be given here. You're not in a strategic location. At least your strategic location, which is the ocean, has not, in my opinion, been taken advantage yet or leveraged appropriately. So anything, we had already many ideas about different types of sectors that can grow here, sports as an economic development tool and other things. And I'm thinking, well, anybody to the north or west can cut you off from that business because you are cornered in a part of the state where, the ocean on the other end does not connect you to the opportunity that this, I think, region could be connected. Yes, sir.
Okay. Name and where you live.
It's George Loza, architect in Brigantine, New Jersey. And I've yet to fill out the survey. I plan to do it quite extensively, probably by hand, since I find the survey itself somewhat truncated. It would easy to be glib and just sort of say there must be some confusion of Stockton with Stanford to try to think up incubators. But on a positive note, I do believe there are businesses that can be incubated here. And I think we do need to stick with our strengths and foster those strengths. And those strengths are what they were, and which was a resort. And in that regard, I attended the Garden State Film Festival yesterday, which was quite well attended, and Resorts was very happy with it. And the indie filmmakers were very happy with it. And along with that could fit in with truly creating an arts district in the areas that are already considered as such, the Mississippi Avenue area. And there could be an indie film venue to begin to spur the sort of milieu and mystique that's necessary to create the creative placemaking, one might say. I could go into more details about creative placemaking. That's actually a method of gaining sustainable New Jersey points, which my green team has done, and caused economic development. And it is a shame that we have to resort to sustainable methods, I think, in a way to spur development, but I think that's the point that we're at. And we're sort of returning back to our roots in a way. I was also part of Creative New Jersey, Creative Atlantic City, which was a forum that went on lately, and I see some people here from there. And it's amazing that these artists and activists and advocates there and other business people were very much thinking in the same way. I saw a lot less disparity among them than I do see among other ideas. So I may come up with a couple of ideas that'll bring a few guffaws, and that would mean that we would need to Google Einstein in his quote that if it's not ridiculous, then it has no chance of succeeding. So I'm actually here with a rumor from Mr. Straub that he's turning the Revel into the world's largest vertical lettuce farm. However, it turns out that in Newark right now, there's a lettuce farm, a vertical farm being built, I understand, or proposed right now. And in Doylestown, there is a lettuce farm. There's plenty of land in Doylestown, and there's plenty of land around here. So today's paper, which I could pull out of my bag, would say that West Atlantic City bought all these motels, that's part of Egg Harbor Township, and doesn't know really how to proceed with that. And they're asking for more developers, and I guess I'm sure more bars and restaurants. By the way, if you're going to put any bars and restaurants, please do ask Mr. Goldman, who bought 13th Street in Philadelphia, only the hippest area in Philadelphia right now. And he claims to have founded Soho, so I think he has an idea. And I've been in this chicken egg question before. If you don't have bodies right on top of the places, there are no bars and restaurants to be populated with. So you need people right on top of any bars and restaurants that one might do at Gardner's Basin or any other place. But back to the lettuce farm. Yes, so you have all these vacant motels, and people used to come here a long time ago. We've had this discussion with the gentleman from the 11th floor and at Creative New Jersey that people used to come here to rejuvenate from the TB and leave the poison of Philadelphia. Well, they're going to come here and rejuvenate again, and we can just, since already the grass is taking over all those places, just level them and put it back to the wetlands. And if some developer wants to come along and build something, which is highly unlikely, just make the area what it was, beautiful as before. Let's return to Eden, bring the resort back. There is actually no other real answer, and everything else is a chimera. The Fisherman's Energy Project, there may be some ecological aspects to that. I'm less interested in the ecological aspects, but I'm more interested in the economic development of all these ideas, whether they're artistic ideas, whether they're filmmaking ideas, whether they're farmers markets. Fisherman's Energy would apparently, supposedly bring $35 million, was that a year, of tourist dollars. People in Amsterdam, where they have these giant windmills, go out to go see these things. These are the kind of directions we need to go. I have a bunch of other ideas along those lines, but I think I've used up my 3 minutes, a couple minutes ago.
Well, let me assure you that arts, culture, music, design are going to be looked at thoroughly. In fact, I want to be on record to say that our firm has developed the first creative strategy ever in the United States for Winston-Salem, and the National Design Center there is there because of our recommendation. We've created strategies in New Orleans, in Detroit, in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We built it in Austin. So I do believe part of what we have to do here is not just to bring people alone, but to build a community of place. And arts, culture, and music do that. You're raising your hand. Probably you need to move to the mic, if you will.
No, he has the mic.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. How we doing, folks? Did you hear enough? Well, my name is Ronnie Young. I was born Ronaldo Angelo Toscano Palmisano, but I trade as Ronnie Young. It sounds alike. And I'm here about Bader Field. I've been working on it for 4 years to develop Bader Field. The bottom line is, it's about making Atlantic City better and creating jobs. If you don't create jobs, it doesn't get better. This is a conceptual of Bader Field. Okay, we spent a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of meetings. The jobs are important. 3,000 jobs for close to 7 or 8 years. 2,000 permanent jobs at Bader Field. Okay, an international marketplace is needed to bring customers to Bader Field. It's not going to happen in a local market. We need to open up the airport. We have to go through tour and travel people throughout the world. I have a commitment from Australia as we speak for 100,000 tourists a year. That's what we need. We need China, we need Europe, we need London, we need Australia, we need the world. The business is not going to work in a local market. We have a monorail system, a vision of a monorail system coming from the airport to Bader Field, to Convention Hall, to Boardwalk Place. These are the things that we have proposed. We've put up $75 million to go forward. And we will fill out the RFP for those from the city who said we should. But the bottom line is jobs and creativity. As I keep showing you these renderings, you can see there's been a lot of work from Tommy Sykes, who's probably one of the great architects of all time. We need everybody's help, and we need skin in the game from everybody. The unions have to participate. The county has to participate. The city has to participate. The state has to participate. The builders have to participate. Nobody in this world is going to spend $600 million on infrastructure for Bader Field. That's what it's going to cost. You need to fix the Sandy situation coming off the Ventnor Bridge. You need to widen the Black Horse Pike. You need to build a bridge from the expressway right into Bader Field to handle all the business. This is a complete entertainment mixed-use facility. This has got a marina. This has got a mobile situation with the monorails. It's got townhouses. It's got the Movie Hall of Fame. It's got the largest water park in the country. This is what this is about. Jobs, entertainment, and the world. Not a local facility, an international facility. And if we can get that on, and you all make note of this, and write and call and do whatever you have to do to create this for Atlantic City, it will be then the new playground of the world. Thank you very much. My name is Aaron Randolph. I'm a councilman here in Atlantic City. I come as a concerned citizen today. I like your rendition, and I think our council president will be able to speak on that. But I'm also a working man. You know, I put in a lot of hours. I work every day. And when I go to work in the morning, I pass a lot of people from Atlantic City and throughout the county that are not working. So I'm here for the working man today. You know, a lot of renditions, they sound good. You know, a lot of grandiose things are going on, and I know we're going to succeed with the county executive. The city works with the county. We try to work with the state. But economically, we're hurting. You know, I watched the Rebel close down. I watched a lot of my constituency go from having a job to not having one. Every day, people are dying to get work. So I'm here for the working man. Whatever we come up with, whatever, think about the working person. Think about the person that gets up out of their bed every morning, that has to go out and make a living. You know, we can hear all of this. I'm on city council, I hear them come. But I tell them, I work just like you do. And if you don't look out for the working person, all of these grand plans that we have, they're not. They're not. You know, and if you get a job, you want to go there and you want to be able to work. You want to be able to have a pension. You want to be able to retire. But if you don't get that, you don't have anything. So I didn't come here as a councilman. I came here as a working person today. So whatever you do, please have the working person in mind. And when you do, remind them, Atlantic City is the engine that takes care of the county and the state. $600 million leave out of here every year. Every year. So please, for the working man, just remember that. That's all I have to say, and thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mindy Salkin. I moved here from New York City 6 months ago. My company is the Running Center. I'm a professional running coach, and I'm bringing fitness, wellness, health, nutrition, and spirit here. So I think that Atlantic City should be the wellness capital of the world. And with that, you could have each one of those different components. You could have fitness, and under that would be all the sports and activities that take place. You would have health, and under that would be all the medical establishments and the welfare of everyone's health and vigor. And then you would have nutrition, and under that would be the wonderful food and entertainment and bars that we have here. And then under spirit, you would have all the creative arts. So I think I'd like to see the word wellness, which is very big today in the world and in the corporate world, because they are bringing in lots of different people to cover wellness, because if your company is not well and your employees are not well, then your company will not do well. So I think that if we make Atlantic City the wellness capital of the world, we will do well. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. We're getting a little excited, and that's great. I think everyone's rendition or what they would like to see the city become is important. And I hope everyone's rendition is sort of added, blended in. I have a community incubator that I put together some years ago, because I agree with the gentleman that the weakest link, if we strengthen the weakest link, then we have a strong foundation to build upward. And I came to Atlantic City when I was 18 years old in 1976. Oops. But the most amazing thing I loved about Atlantic City was that you could come here as a young adult and get a job on the boardwalk and work and build a life without your parents. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, that's important for young people, and I think it's important for Atlantic City to be known as a place of diversity, creativity, innovation, and there's so much wealth here already. You know, if we just used our wasted resources, like for example, all the hundreds of thousands of abandoned homes. There are families that lost jobs. even before the major casinos closed, as they were dwindling, and they're in motel rooms with families, you know, with kids, 4 or 5 kids in a motel room. And how stressful is that, you know? So my community incubator, what it basically does is it promotes entrepreneurship. In the Great Recession, it was entrepreneurship that brought us out. And I think that every community should have a nice, healthy share of entrepreneurs. Every community. And also, we need to promote what's important to our government, its values. Like the government at this time is building up its engineering sector and PhD sector. And so it's a great opportunity to our high school children to continue in school. Now they're giving scholarships if you make it to your associate's degree. If you want to be an engineer, or architect, a PhD in science or whatever, we want the best in our country. You know, and so these things are important, and I think if we took the time to build stability for people and let them know they're each and every single individual on this planet is equally important. They have gifts, talents, and skills. You know, some of the black communities have the best nail technicians here, dressers, and cooks. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of entrepreneurship opportunity there that hasn't been tapped. You know, so I have a proposal as well. I hope to leave your copy and that you would consider it. Because I think if Atlantic City, the casinos are important and people enjoy coming here. It's a resort, but it's also a family that's been here before the casinos came. And these families are still here, struggling even harder than they were before the casinos came. And the one good thing about the casinos that closed, all those people that have worked for the casinos 20 and 30 years, they are expert in their field and they're business owners. Wouldn't you say? You know what I mean? They can start uniform shops, restaurants, and bars, and they know what the community likes because they have serviced them for the last 20-something years. You know, so they're not unemployable, they just need to think differently.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Janet Garrity. I'm a business owner and a longtime resident of Atlantic County. I live in Galloway Township, and Galloway Township, I decided to move my family there years ago because the close proximity, the great school system, which I think just about every community in Atlantic County has. I mean, it's really amazing the local education system that we have still. We have Richard Stockton College. Stockton University, that's right. Atlantic Care. And we also have the Parkway, which I can jump on in 5 minutes. The Expressway, which I can jump on in 5 minutes. We have the airport, which is kind of like the Statue of Liberty between argument over Egg Harbor Township or Galloway. So these are really strong infrastructure areas right here in our backyard. Now I do a lot of business here in Atlantic County, but I do some in Gloucester County. Gloucester County has Rowan University. And I don't know if you know this, but Rowan University is dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into that community. And what Glassboro has done is said, hey, how can we get in on that? And they've built a downtown section right around its college to help that whole region grow. Now I know Stockton's configuration is different from Rowan's, but I mean, they really capitalize. They have a hotel, they have meeting space, they have they have a downtown Glassboro area. And I just think with the Parkway, the Expressway, the airport, and Stockton and the hospital, I mean, my heavens, what else do you need? Good. Get them in here. Thank you.
I got one. George Hay, Summers Point, New Jersey. I left Atlantic City area in 1978 to move to California, and the Coca-Cola company that I was doing a summer job with had moved over to Cape May County, and Atlantic City Electric was out in Mays Landing, and I've spent most of my career in California on doing kind of strategic planning and research and development for a large electric utility, and doing things that were more the incubation stage. And we drew on the Stanfords and the Berkeleys and the national laboratories, and we created firms that people in Austin would then come up and grab and lure them down to Austin. And Austin has a city utility. It has a utility that's a player there. Atlantic City used to have Atlantic City Electric, which moved its headquarters from here to Mays Landing to or several different times, and it's now going to be owned by a company that's based in Chicago. And there's a real trend in the electric industry towards community scale power. And in California, there's lots and lots of municipal-owned utilities. Counties and cities are beginning to go, well, boy, we could generate that locally. We could do that investment locally here. And it kind of begs the question of, that economic development role that Atlantic City Electric used to play with Atlantic City. What has really replaced that? The casinos seem to be rather big players now, but they just would well like to be in Eastern PA or in Las Vegas or other places. But your local electric function is really a very strong partner in economic development. And I think there's some real assets here. In ACUA, there's only 2 municipal utilities in the state of New Jersey, the city of Vineland, and there's one up north. But ACUA has done some world-class things they're creating a renewable county-scale utility for their function, but not the county as a whole. And I think the strategic location of Atlantic City is its proximity, and people can share ideas and gather here, and you can bring people in to showcase the offshore wind and showcase what they're doing. But you really need, between Stockton and the Stockton campus is a wonderful model. They're calling these models in California renewable energy secure communities, but it's a research topic in the same sense of how buildings have become more integrated on energy. It's how to do it better. And if you position with the local investment and the research, you begin to create the companies that can go sell the ideas elsewhere. But I think it's a very strong asset locally here. And just as a byline, I bought a property in Summers Point that has a $6,000 a year property. No, actually it's $8,000 now, property tax and going up. In Upper Township, where they're in the process of building another conventional big power plant that Upper Township's going to get, the same property would have a $2,000 a year property tax because of that power plant. So maybe spreading the investment in power technologies around more, putting solar at the shore, for example, to match up with the summer peak needs, makes a heck of a lot more sense than randomly just spreading it around New Jersey like it's currently going on. But power industry's big money. And as a last comment, when the auto industry was being created, there's a showcase here at the shore. And when the auto industry was created, Charles Chrysler and Henry Ford used to race cars down in Cape May on the beach to show off the investment bankers in New York and the Washington politicians. And there's a real showcase here, an opportunity for people to get together and complement the tourism industry relative to business meetings and ideas sharing. But it takes a program, it takes a strategy to do it. So, thank you.
Thank you for your...
Good evening. My name is Mal Bahabir. I'm a retired nurse, 46 years old. My children wanted me to retire completely, but not yet after my open heart surgery. I'm sorry to say. I'm still very active, and I really would like to be a part of this community in regards to improving the economy. I am, in a matter of fact, in the process of inviting at least 3 billionaires from the Far East to come over here and invest in our land. Like Henry C. is a very successful billionaire in the Philippine Islands. They're moving Macau. They're going to put up a second Macau in the Philippines. That's successful. He partnered with a billionaire in Australia to put up the Sol Air, which is another casino. And if you see my pictures that I have ordered from the Philippines, is amazing the way they made Europe out of the Philippines now with all their buildings, modernized buildings and resorts. Now, my main point is what we need to do really, because the government spent at least $800 million in the care of Alzheimer's, and we can prevent this. Most of the people that come around here are seniors, and we need to prevent that. So one way of doing it is increasing, the preventive measures that we can do to assist all the seniors to keep from getting the dementia, okay? My suggestion, okay, is invite at least 2 internet moguls to open up over here. If you're not familiar with Ilkka Paananen, he makes $2.5 million per day, not per week, not per month, per day. And this is for fact. He just opened a branch, it's called Super Scope in Fremont, San Francisco, California. And I'm inviting him to open one over here in New Jersey, especially, Atlantic County. We need to do this the same way the governor of New Mexico, he invited one internet mogul that had caused 30,000 jobs. I think we need to invite these billionaires to open up over here. This is Asian, called Asian Business Council. They have $1.3 trillion, okay, to invest with worthy projects. I think we can invite all these moguls to come over here and put up this one. I'm working on this. It's going to be called Beauty and the East. Are you aware that China is spending $112 billion in tours? The United States and Russia combined only spent $70 billion in tourism. We need to increase this and upgrade it. And one way of doing this is one of these. I'm inviting one of the billionaires to Henry C. is called the Mall Mogul, okay? He owns the second biggest, it's called Pasay City Mall, which is the second biggest mall in the whole world. And this is for fact, okay? We have like 15 inventors, and we need a museum here where we can house all the inventors' items and who invented which what, We need this in a point of interest. I formed this myself. It's called Noble Aim Projects. I think if the mayor and the governor would take a look at it, they will be pleased to know what I have in here, and maybe 3 or 4 of the famous architects will try to build this. One of them is the Multicultural Museum Center, and then the Mural Civic Institute. If you look in the old buildings in Atlantic City, it's not much compared to what they have in Philadelphia. That's where we are beaten. We don't have anything artful. We don't value too much about culture, especially multi-cultures, okay? So we really need to do this. Thank you very much for your attention.
Steve Young, Atlantic City, and used to a lot of these meetings, and we come, we talk about different things, but we got to start from the bottom up. And one thing people don't like to talk about too much is the crime, because if businesses don't feel safe and tourists don't feel safe coming here, it draws down and make it very economically, it hurts us all. So we need to talk about the solutions to that. And part of that is being at the table so these things can actually happen. And that means you have to have the community at the table. And too many times we have the people that don't live here making decisions for us, when there's bright minds here in this community every day. And one thing that we have and what that we need, and this is what we're proposing, is an entertainment district. She talked about the culture, we talked about performance arts. There's different things that people can feel a part of themselves here, and keeping the dollar circulating here. There's a lot of people that work, whether it's teachers, firemen, casino workers. If they were to live here alone, we wouldn't have to be talking about the tourists coming in, because you'll be spending the dollar circulating in our communities. These houses will be full and the taxes will go down. So there's a solution to that, but it don't take a scientist to actually figure out. It takes us to diversify ourselves and to come together with a plan to implement, because it's already on the table. It's about implementation. And enforcement of some of the laws is already on the books. So those are things we need to start looking at, and we cannot forget, like, the people that's coming. Right now you have a lot of crime in Atlantic City. It's no secret to anybody. And there's a lot of people come to jail, but they get out. And where do they come back to? The communities, without a job, without a place to stay. So what type of incentive, what type of businesses are able to hire them or would hire them? But if you own your own business, you can hire who you want. Most of the people, the big businesses here, they don't live here. They just own it and rent the space and to take the dollars out of town. So if the dollars were to circulate here again, if we have half of the people that work in the walk, if they were to live here, that's dollars there circulating in our community. And then you have Stockton coming. You have a lot of students coming from all over the world. We want them to feel safe. But we also need the inclusion of the ones that graduate from high school and for them to see some type of vision to stay here. So, again, an entertainment district like you have in Philadelphia, South Street, you got Bourbon Street. I mean, you got all those type of places that you have a hub where people know they can come to and have fun and feel safe. If we don't create something now, how can you talk about a Beta Field or the Revel or anything else if people with money don't want to invest here because of the safety issue? So we got to prioritize what we're doing, and we have to come together to do that. Thank you.
How y'all doing this evening? We're doing good? Come on. Let's get a little excitement here. That's right. My name's James Morgan. I grew up here in Atlantic County, been a casino worker in Atlantic City for a good 20 years now. I work at Bally's right now, and I know I'm one of the lucky ones that still has a job down here. Now, I've been here all this time and working here all this time as an unskilled worker. That's how the industry views me. I'm just a waiter after all. But I've been here all this time and been able to make a good living, thanks to the casino, certainly, for providing that job. But I know the benefits, the health benefits, the pension I have, that good wage, that doesn't come from the casino. That comes from my union. The reason that I have this high quality of living right now here is because of the representation of my union. Now, two things I want to say here, and the one thing is there's a lot of talk about job creation, and that is darn important, but it's not just about the quantity of jobs, but the quality of them. Not everybody in Atlantic County now has like a doctorate or a bachelor's degree, anything like that. A lot of us are unskilled people, but we still need that high quality of living. So when these businesses come in and they invest, it's got to be a priority that it's not just that they're bringing their money in here and a bunch of Walmart type of low-wage jobs. They've got to be quality jobs with health benefits and pensions. Something where we're going to have that spare money to spread around Atlantic County to keep this thing going. And the other thing I want to say is that for the county leadership, what I want you guys to do is talk to my union leadership and the other community leaders in here so we can all be organized and can be on the same page. It starts when you guys start talking to each other, and we can all make this a great place to live again. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to put my 2 cents into this here, or 3 cents. My name is Walter Anthony Woodbury, and I was born and raised here. I've lived here all my life, which is almost 55 years. So I'm old enough to remember when an authority gutted a viable section of my home city without securing the legal guarantee to replace what they have torn down with anything. And that is the old Atlantic City Housing Authority. I see the CRDA following the same script to a degree. Now, yes, they build housing. They've invested $1.5 billion in Atlantic City. But how in the hell can I square that with the nearly $10 billion they've taken out of this city and invested elsewhere? North, Central, South, I don't really care. That was Atlantic City's money. It should have stayed here. There should have been proper incentives put in place to induce the kind of caring to make sure that Atlantic City was redeveloped right. Let's say at the end of 40 years, when Atlantic City is deemed economically recovered by every measure, you might just have a $50 billion pot at the end of that rainbow. But you're going to have to wait for it. You're going to have to be patient. A lot of things are going to have to get done first before you get one single penny of that money. So if the Northern New Jerseyites want casino gambling, then they need to pay back every red cent that they've taken. I don't care if it's $5 billion, I don't care if it's $8 billion. The state is $60 billion in debt anyway. So what's the difference? You need to pay it. And pay it in full. And I don't care if it takes from now until 2060, when I'm 100 years old, to pay it off. But you got to pay it off. Because you know what? I, for one, am tired of seeing my home city and this part of the state being treated no better than Devil's Island. Okay, this is not a colonial master colony relationship. We're supposed to be a co-equal part of this state. But yet, we're forced to swallow dictates from Trenton and like it. We have politicians who think, oh, we must settle for what we can get because, hey, the Northern New Jerseyites have the votes. They had the population. They can just cram things down our throat and twist our arms every which way. And we had no choice. Well, I'll tell you what, you tell that to the late Hat Farley. He didn't allow the Northern New Jerseyites to twist his arms. And I mean, believe you me, I'm not an overwhelming fan of Hat Farley because there's a lot that he could have done when he ran this town that he did not do. And the one thing he did not do was clean up the corruption in this town and let his allies know that the Atlantic City of 1920 was long dead in 1955 and 1960. This is a new reality. The Atlantic City of 1905 does not exist no more. This is 1955, this is 1960, this is 1964. We're being bypassed by this post-war economic boom. We're becoming a backwater. But yet you have generation after generation of leadership failure to recognize that fact. We had business leaders that went along with the program. They failed too. The question is, are we going to end up failing ourselves again down here? Now that answer is up to you. It's up to me. We need to make sure that our politicians adhere to a higher standard of expectation because I think too many Southern New Jerseyites believe that their region is just a poor stepchild of the North. And we need to put a stop to that. We need to think of ourselves a hell of a lot better than that. Or else we're going to continue to lag behind in every socio-economic measure. And we'd be no better than West Virginia, Mississippi, Eastern Kentucky. I'm very serious. I think casino gambling, yeah, they provided a lot of job opportunities. But casinos were looked upon as an end, not a means to an end. Too many folks cowered behind that cloak of a false sense of economic security, thinking that Atlantic City was really in the free and clear. And it was far from being free and clear. It was far from being economically secure. Because all these casino executives look to do, they engaged in a campaign to keep parts of my home city a slum just to keep their patrons in. And all they had to do was bust their patrons in, limousine their patrons in, fly in their patrons, pry them loose from their money, and then show them out the door. And if they came to do other things than gamble, like shop at a high-priced store, in their casino, or go to a high-priced restaurant, that was all well and good. But did the dollars really circulate along Pacific Avenue? Did the dollars really circulate along Atlantic Avenue? Did these executives really give a damn about that boardwalk and beach? No. They would have, if they had their way, they probably would have paved over the beach with a seawall. So you need to wake up. I'm one of those who do not trust everything government does. I don't trust everything business does either. And I'm a conservative Democrat. And as far as I'm concerned, I've seen a lot wrong being done on both sides. And I just want to conclude that.
Thank you, sir.
It's very nice being here to participate in this forum tonight. My name is Cindy Waltz. I've been an Atlantic City resident since 1993. That year I got a job as a food server at the Trump Taj Mahal. And I'm a proud member of Local 54, Unite Here Local 54. It's been an interesting and exhilarating ride. I've been blessed to work with people from all over the world, and I've made lifelong friends. Working side by side with my coworkers for so many years, I consider them family and have shared stories of their own families. Every parent I have worked with has raised successful adults. They were able to do this because of their commitment to hard work and the outstanding health care they were able to provide for themselves and for their families. They were spared the decision of either putting food on the table or taking care of their health. Because we had good jobs, we were able to actively participate in the economy. Our hard-earned dollars built the malls and the car dealerships. We were able to buy homes, pay taxes, and play an active role in our communities. It wasn't just the casinos that drove our economy, it was the men and women who worked so hard and earned a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. These past years have been great ones, but the situation now is different. And as we all know, the only thing that doesn't change is that everything always changes. But the need for quality jobs in Atlantic County will never go away. I don't believe that our problems can be solved by thinking in the framework in which they were created. We can't cut our way to a successful economy. It's not as though comfort and luxury are our chief requirements. What we all need is something to be proud of and the opportunity to work hard for it. Unfortunately, employers like Carl Icahn are making it impossible for this generation to raise their families like we did. This economy will not succeed if we continue to attract predatory employers like Carl Icahn. We need big ideas in Atlantic County. We need a plan that makes sense for business and for residents. We are going to keep fighting to hold employers in Atlantic County accountable to good jobs, and I hope you will too. Thank you very much for your time.
My name is Miko Lukide. I live in Mays Landing and I work in Galloway. Pretty much I've seen, just listening to what everyone has been talking about, there have been three themes that I hear continually popping up, and that's green energy, entertainment and the arts, and I forgot the third one. Anyway, the thing that I really think Atlantic County needs, in my opinion, and admittedly, this is the first time I've been to one of these things. I don't really know what all has been discussed in the previous forum that has been held. I love the idea of what that woman over there mentioned, the community incubator, and having community incubators, small business incubators. We really do have brilliant minds and amazing workers in Atlantic County, throughout Atlantic County, that really are afraid to try to get into starting a new business or try to get into developing their ideas into something bigger than what it currently is. And I really think that if we had if we had one small business incubator, 3 small business incubators throughout Atlantic County, something to really give people an area where they're not going to dump their entire life savings and risk losing it all. Low rent areas for people to start up shops. Oh, that was the third thing. Technology. We all know how big the technology boom is beginning to happen now. It's really the direction of the future, and I think that Atlantic County needs to tap into that resource. And we do have the brilliant minds here who are ready to do those things. I have 3 friends who are about to move to California and work for Google instead of developing a business here. We need to tap into that. We need small business incubators. We need anything to really help people get themselves off the ground with their brilliant ideas. And I truly believe that Atlantic County has such amazing citizens. And I'm just going to end this with something I like to end with. We here as citizens, we are here trying to do good for our community, and that's beautiful to see. Growing up, we were always told to be good and to do well. And it's time that we shift that around and focus on being well and doing good. We need to restore that as a goal in our society, and I'm so glad to see so many people here working on that right now.
Hi, my name is Kurt Alexander. I'm a Atlantic City resident for 18 years and a trout worker for 19 years. AC and Atlantic County have a lot to offer. The further can we be brighter. In order to live here and provide for our families, we must have good jobs and good pay, health care, and a retiring, otherwise, why stay? What is happening to the TOS is not okay. To strip them workers from their dignity, health care, and the retirement plan is horrible. And employees like that will not make Atlantic County a good place to raise your family and be a part of my community.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Gilliam. I'm the City Council President of the City of Atlantic City. First of all, I would like to thank the county exec and Atlantic County for actually taking the initiative to do a study. So many times we find ourselves in situations that cause drastic measures. And one of the drastic measures came out, a blessing to have you guys come to our area to help us redevelop and rebuild ourselves to a more stronger and vibrant economy. Just last year, Austin hosted the League of Cities, which shows that Austin has basically done something that Atlantic City can easily duplicate. And what Austin did with the help of you guys, and I'm glad to find out that you were a part of that change, is that they understood the demographics. Heard a lot of folks mention that we've had other entities decide what our city needs. We have bright ideas ourselves, some formidable, some wacky, but nevertheless we have ideas. We need professionals like Angelo's to come into our community to help us create a vision, a vehicle of change. And the one thing that I like to say about Atlantic City is that it's a blank canvas. No matter what happened yesterday, we can't change that. We know right now we're in a condition that we have to pretty much either sink or swim. And I'm a native of here. I can swim, but I do not plan on sinking. And in closing, I'm also the chairperson for Planning and Development. And Elizabeth and I pretty much tossed ideas around until our heads spin. It's refreshing to know that the county and the city of Atlantic City has a more vibrant line of communication We've broken those silos. We look forward to actually doing a lot more with the county, because at the end of the day, it's not Atlantic City, it's not Atlantic County, it's our region in which we basically have to take care of. And the people in the region, as much as I'm a politician, I'm a human being. I love the fact that people should have what they consider a community. And one thing that the gaming industry showed us was how to bastardize a community. And that's something that I'm hoping that the report that you come out with would remedy that in terms of bringing back Atlantic Avenue, bringing back the entertainment. And I'm going to close by saying this. You cannot have a vibrant county, you cannot have a vibrant community with folks that tend to think that only one direction is the right direction. We have to be listening to everyone, because everyone makes a difference. And in closing, again, I appreciate the county, I appreciate Angelo's, and we look forward to the report, because we're going to implement. As one of the persons said, we have to implement. And for too long, we've been actually hoping for someone to dictate our destiny. I believe in sustainability, and Atlantic City can sustain itself. And if we basically begin to create an economic engine outside of the gaming, we're back on good footing. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Victoria, and I'm a Stockton graduate, and an educator as well, excuse me, in Cape May and Atlantic County. I just want to tell you real short, first off, what a beautiful place you have down here at the shore. I'm a transplant. I came here in the mid-90s, but most recently I started my education in environmental studies. South Jersey has what's known as the Pinelands. It's a biodiverse area. It has one of the most endangered species population in the world, and it's considered a world biosphere. It's the only vast, non-developed place on the eastern seaboard, and a lot of people look at it as like the land and the trees. But what I didn't know up until a year ago, that actually it's what's underneath that is so important, and that's the Kirkwood Clancy Aquifer. It's 1 trillion gallons of fresh water. And you still have access to that. And it's something that should be preserved. Just look at what we pay for 20 ounces of water. So if you can imagine the number on the trillion. Let's see. So we do have the ocean as well as the Pinelands, which makes it very unique. We talk tourism. Ecotourism is huge. You spoke about how we're known worldwide. That's just another thing that we can also let people know about. This gentleman over here hit on how amazing ACUA is with their new clean energy. Well, not new clean energy. They've been trying to promote it for years. But that's something that is up and coming. And the New Jersey State Senate on Monday pushed a little bit further to making that a reality with Tesla. And they've agreed to let them do 2 more places in the state. So why don't we make one of those here? And they're currently also looking for an East Coast headquarters. So why don't we be that headquarters? Why don't we make Bader Field Tesla's next headquarters? All right, it's just something to think about. But I tell you, being an educator in K through 5th grade starting out, I see what the pollution is doing to our children, to our health. I'm sure everyone in this room has lost someone to cancer. And I'm sure you know a child with autism. Neurological damage is what happens with air pollution. Alzheimer's, dementia, as the young lady over here had mentioned. We are asphyxiating ourselves. And even if we made a change today, it would take 20 years to replace the fleet. It's something to think about, because we're too smart to lose this intellectual humanity that has been created. And when you look on a geological standpoint from how small and how infant our existence is, it's something to think about, excuse me. And one other thing, I hear like North Jersey, South Jersey. I agree, there's more voices in North Jersey. But you know what? Don't let them move down here and tear apart our pineland. Okay? That's what they want. They want our, you know, and the other thing though that to really think about is New Jersey is also like one of only 2 places in the world that has a geological diversity, okay? We have fresh water, we have plenty of it, and if you look at a map, all around us is yellow, okay? We need to protect our natural resources. And we need to put a dollar amount on what that is so that we all appreciate it and we all shut off the water when we're brushing our teeth and we all take a little short shower and we all save where we can. I'm not asking for reduce, I'm just asking for recycle, reuse, and respect. And we need to waste responsibly. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, my name is Elizabeth Terenick. I'm the Director of Planning and Development. Thanks for everyone with your great ideas. A lot of them are being pursued. We are working very hard in planning and development. So many things are going on that are really positive. All of you are seeing it. And I think one of the most important things that we need to accept is the perception issue. And it's something that we all can have an effect on. And we know we need an economic development force, much stronger than it's been. Until we get to that point, each of us every day can try and talk about the positives that exist here in Atlantic City, because there are a lot of them. From a government perspective, it's important to know that we're really focusing on the foundations of what makes a great community, and that is infrastructure, parks and playgrounds, quality of life issues, safety, all the things that everyone needs to have a great quality of life and also to have great economic development. I do want to point out that safety is something that is a huge misperception about. We had the police department speak as well as a statistician at our last monthly noontime talk, and the way that the statistics are calculated really skews the number for Atlantic City, and that, if nothing else, that is something that we need to get the word out. And when you account for the number of visitors and people that work in the city every day, which is between 110,000 to 200,000 people a day that are coming into the city, the crime rate is actually below the national average. So there's a lot of really great news out there, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone at any time about what we're doing in the planning office. But for now, thank you again for coming out, and thank you for the effort, because it's definitely needed. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Michael Anthony Scott Jr. I'm a native of Atlantic City for 40 years. I'd like to piggyback off what Mr. Young said and a few others said about the small businesses, and the ex-felons. I am an ex-felon. I was incarcerated for 14 and a half years for aggravated assault in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been home 3.5 years. I came home and I met Mr. Stephen Young, who took a chance on me because he saw the gifts in me. I was hired by the Rebel Casino. Y'all know the story. They closed. I ended up without a job. Mr. Young still stood there with me, and he's helping me. Here's the thing. I applied at McDonald's. I went everywhere. No one would hire me, okay? Other guys that was doing the same thing I was doing, they gave up, and they started committing crime once again. People are complaining. These business owners are complaining, but they're not willing to give somebody a chance. I went through the Second Chance program. Even Mr. Frank Gillum, Councilman Frank Gillum, President, reached out to certain places for me, Councilman Randolph. But, you know, I'm sure they're being told no. I'm asking that, you know, y'all find in your hearts when you get this committee together to not forget those of us that's formerly incarcerated, that's out here being productive. I'm with the Peacekeepers. I'm also with the National Action Network. I'm starting something called Men Standing with the Conscious Vision. And I'm just asking that we be given a chance. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mihaela. I'm not prepared to speak at all. Neither I'm professional, neither do I have the experience and the expertise like many of you have. I'm 27 years old, and like I said, I'm not professional, but I believe in one thing. I'm a resident of Atlantic City, and I grew up here since I was 12 years old, and now I'm 27. I'm one of the people who believes that everything in life happens for a reason. When one door shuts, another door opens. And I believe with what you said, that you have to keep moving and you have to be positive. I believe that Atlantic City has so much potential. One of the things every day when I ride bicycle on the boardwalk and I run and I see people, you know, how they complain. It's just Atlantic City has so much potential. How is this potential going to be turned out? When we have creative ideas. For us young people, for me, for example, whenever I would like to go out and do something, I always say, there's nothing to do in Atlantic City. I don't want to go to the casino. I don't want to go to the nightclubs. I don't want to do any of these stuff. I want to have fun activities. So what I loved your proposal for the Bader Field. I am such a supportive. I'd like to take a look at it. We also have a similar proposal, but it's not as experienced as yours. But what I believe Atlantic City needs is on Bader Field. It's something, what do I envision? I envision something that probably like an indoor soccer field, an indoor tennis court, ball club. You need activities for people to do. There is nothing to do here in Atlantic City. You have the restaurants, you have the hotels, you have everything, but there is no activities. So I propose that you consider strongly in all of these forums activities for people, for it to be active, gymnastics. My mother is a former gymnast, and she trained at Flyers Academy for 10 years. One of the most tremendous experiences, and I'm originally from Bulgaria, and all of the gyms are located in Ahaba Township and everything. There's nothing in Atlantic City for people to come from Margate, from Longport, from Brigantine. You need gymnastics, soccer fields. I mean, the World Cup, was held in Brazil. You need people will come here in Atlantic City as long as. So I propose. Besides all the commercials and all the building and all the housing that's going to be built for people to come in, bring something like gymnastics, soccer, tennis, like creative ideas. So I'd like just Miss Marta just to introduce herself quickly. She doesn't speak professionally English, but we can't discriminate it just because somebody's from a different origin and doesn't speak proficiently can't express their ideas. So she's part of the Atlantic City Youth Emotion. It's a nonprofit organization. And what she could elaborate a little bit more briefly because there's other people who would like to speak, so I want to keep it short.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I live here for 30 years, and I worked in the casino for 17 years. So now I'm manager for the laundromat, so I take care for the laundry, and it's open 24 hours. So I see everybody every day, and I see attention for the kids. The kids come in, Miss Marta, what do you do? Okay, football. And I practice every day. I have 1,000 kids in my club. So 200 kids activity. Now I receive the good notice about my 2 kids go to Europe. And one go to Madrid and 14 years old, and the other one, 12 years old, go to England. So I'm very happy because the 200 kids, everybody, Miss Marta, I go, yes, you go soon. The kids, the family, the grandma, the grandpa, I have all people in the football, soccer. Believe me, the football, soccer is every day, never stop. It's lot of money every day. My proposal is a sport. I have 12 different sports. So I make it a big proposal. I know I'm talking to Mrs. Elizabeth, because I bring the people from Houston, 20 years professional in a stadium, working in Brazil, working in Colombia, and I have people ready come to Atlantic City. And summer I had the big surprise for everybody, big surprise. And I have entertainment, music, folklore music, a lot of music, rock, every weekend's music. And the big project, I talk to everybody, and everybody is 100% positive. I'm glad to see you little time today, and I told Jesus, Atlantic City need the best new something different. What is the difference? Nice, football, soccer, basketball, everybody come, and I like it using the airport, because I had a lot of people in Miami make it a good something, the airplanes, coming from New York, from Houston, from Philadelphia. I have all groups ready to come to Atlantic City, believe me. So thank you very much. So Atlantic City Emotion is active for 6 years. And I had 1,000 families, kids ready for the football soccer. So I train it every Saturday in Southern Avenue. I use it Southern Avenue School. And now I need the big place. Maybe I use it, the big park in Venice Park because I had a big project. You see 10,000 people in around. Because now invitation, everybody come to Atlantic City. Atlantic City is the best. The beach, the hotels, everything is beautiful. I need everybody to take care and be careful because I had a lot of people.
I just want to do something in closing. I know we're not supposed to do this, I understand. But being, I finished political science in Stockton, and I know everything that goes in Atlantic City. I'm very familiar with the faces of people. And what I'm just saying is we need to be more positive. We need to get the job done. We need to fix the boardwalk. I live in the Garden Basin area. We need to fix that boardwalk, which is a pending project. We need to fix the streets of Atlantic City, which should have been done a long time ago. Every time I drive a brand new car, I always get the potholes. It's ridiculous. And we need to be positive. And we need to, Bakerfield, we need activities for people. I think that's the #1 proposal for people. We need activities. So I would like to conclude. I would like to thank everyone. You guys are all amazing. And just think positive. That's what I would like everyone to think. Everyone is so amazing.
And keep speaking out. Thank you. AIDS does not have anything to do with great ideas, so thank you for your participation. And your enthusiasm.
We do have a lot of people who still want to speak, and we're almost near the end. So a quick calculation is 3 minutes is about 180 seconds. So if we could just speed it up a little bit, we want everybody to have voice, but we want everybody to have voice.
Good evening, my name is Paul Smith. I'm from Northfield, New Jersey. I've been in Atlantic County my whole life. I'm a cook at the Taj Mahal for the past 21 years. Before that, I've been cooking at the Showboat. For 27 years, I've had a really good job with great benefits, great pay, a good retirement, and I was able as a single parent to raise my 2 children and take care of my mother who had Alzheimer's, and I've had these jobs, and it provided a good life for me and my children. I coached baseball, basketball, soccer for the city of Northfield. I taught religious education at my church. I was able to even volunteer at the school for my children to do all of this. But since then, over at the Taj Mahal, Carl Icahn has destroyed that dream for me. He's taken 1/3 of my pay. He's taken my health benefits. He's taken my pension. He's taken my break away from me. Now I know there's a lot of workers that are in the same shoes. I can't do the things that I've done with my kids. My kids had to move to Tennessee because they couldn't get a good job here. My granddaughter, she's 15 months old. I still haven't yet to go down and see her. So I don't know when I'll be able to see her because we need to make sure that Carl Icahn's plan for the economic future is not the future that we have here in Atlantic City. We need to hold the employers accountable to give good jobs, fair jobs, with a pension, with a retirement plan, something that we can have, that we've had for the past 27 years. So, if Carl Icahn's plan, his economic plan for Atlantic City, if that's what it's going to be, I'm definitely going to have to move. And I've been born and raised here, and I love Atlantic County. And I want to make sure that I stay here and that my children can come back to Atlantic County where they were born to have these good jobs. So we need to make sure that in the future that the companies have these jobs for the workers. Thank you.
I'll keep this short. My name is John Vignon. I'm the pastor of St. Catherine Drexel Parish in Egg Harbor Township. I started out my priesthood 40 years ago in Atlantic County at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish. And I discovered one thing about Atlantic County in these 40 years. In my past experience, my present experience, I've been pastor now in, once again, in Atlantic County for 11 years. that Atlantic County is a county of faith. And I think it's our faith that's going to help us to plan for the future. And I hope that in the planning that you don't ignore the churches that help to make our county the great place that it is. So in the planning, please include us, because we have great ideas. We have a vested interest in the county, a faith-based interest, and I think that faith is important in this whole process.
Well, I like to just present myself as a student. It's not relevant for everybody to know my name. I just want to express that I'm from Egg Harbor Township. I graduated college in a local college 2011, and I've been looking for work ever since. I have so many student loans I have to pay back, and it just seems like a lot. It's the economic market just needs to improve, and I feel that it stems from a lot of people expressing signs of regression and projection from the studies of psychology. So communication is a major problem. Not everybody wants to communicate directly. I believe that there's one too many people communicating with the indirect form, which is causing a lot of harassment. For example, I went to make a few phone calls, calling a few people in the state. I've been getting harassed recently. I can't, point a finger. I'm not really interested anyway into doing that. I follow the directives. They say contact local police authorities. I go to the police, and they tell me they don't know how to deal with this psychological abuse. That's what's going on. That's pretty evident. I don't need any evidence from my studies. That's my studies. I got a bachelor's degree in business studies with a marketing core. And also I just started going back to the local college where I just graduated from. I'm alumni. I start going back to school with the intentions to raise my GPA in order to pursue a master's degree. And the second day of school, I get some other students in class lying, and ended up me having to deal with Department of Corrections. I dealt with Department of Corrections, and the only good thing that came out of that was now I know what the heck's going on a little bit more, at least from my perspective. And unfortunately, there's one too many people. Like, for example, it's just too much harassment going on, and I believe, maybe to keep it real short and simple, there's a high probability it has to be from a source dealing with the sciences. Too many people are taking advantage of other people for lack of knowledge. If I don't know something, I can't get mad at somebody else because they don't know something. Like, for example, my favorite sport's basketball. If I'm the best basketball player making the most free throws or whatever, I can't treat everybody like they're junk, Hopefully everyone can relate to that type of analogy. I have a lot of goals that are good, and I'm just practicing some excellent principles from the knowledge that I seeked and finally found after I graduated in 2011, and I'm always considering myself as a student for life, and I'm always going to be continuing on towards my goals, whether I happen to collapse for some odd reason as soon as I pass the mic. Thank you.
After this gentleman, we can only take one more question. So,
if not, I'll take it.
Okay. I'll never hear one.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Rodney Mills Jr. I grew up here in Atlantic City. I worked at Tropicana since 1992. I started out as a busboy. I worked my way up as a food server. I got to serve and meet all kinds of people. I lived here in Atlantic City for the last 2 years. I like the, thank you. Well, I'm kind of, thank you. What I want to say is, there's a lot that's going on here. I'm a native of the city, and I see a lot of familiar faces. And being a native from here, I lived in and out, so I kind of feel like a deer in headlights. And there's a lot that is surprising. No, just all right. You're right. Well, it's upsetting to all the stuff that's going on. But I know I have, I don't know, I'm just a little nervous, that's all. I get like this. I hate public speaking.
Don't be nervous.
All right, but that's like I said, because I have a friend that's like in your situation, and you know, like he just got out of jail, attempted manslaughter, vehicle manslaughter. You know, it's hard to find a job. You know, there's a lot of things that's just really hard here in Atlantic City. So, so I'm just still new at this. Yeah, exactly. Big fan of that. I'm leaving it at that.
We're gonna here, and there. Okay, that's it. We have to be very quick. Okay, I'm already well over the time limit here. Okay, go ahead.
My name is John Holleran. I've been a bartender at Trump Plaza for 28 years before it closed. And one of the problems that I've seen that the casinos are doing is they grow too big to take care of themselves, and then they don't compete against each other. There was no incentive for the people at the plaza, the marketing department at the plaza, to compete against the Taj, and the Taj wouldn't send, being the big boys, they wouldn't send any help down to the plaza. The same thing is happening with Bally's, Harrah's, and Caesars, where they're growing too big for themselves, and they don't seem to care about the people who actually drive them and support them and have worked their whole lives for them. The most successful casino right in Atlantic City right now is the Borgata, and the Borgata only has one building to worry about, and that's their own building, and they take care of their employees. They don't have to compete against a sister casino. They have all the resources for themselves. I would like to see the state of New Jersey step in and make the rules where you only have one casino per corporate ownership. Another thing the casinos can do is to invest in the city is by giving out comp dollars to Doc's Oyster House, Tony's Baltimore Grill, to people to the stores at the Walk, and that would get people out of their casino and into Atlantic City, and they can see what a truly beautiful city this is. And I think there's a real lot of potential if we can get the customers who come into the casinos to walk around our city and see how beautiful it is and see all it has to offer.
My name is John Ferry. I'm a resident of Egg Harbor Township. I have a business in Egg Harbor Township that my wife on the end of the row there and I started back in 1983. We're not a huge corporation. We're a landscaping company that employs about 40 full-time people, and about half of them work all year long. I've had many people like you, sir, that I gave that second chance, and they are some of the best employees I've ever had. And that's the honest to God truth. And the perception of whatever you read in the newspapers about landscaping companies, we take care of our employees. They have 401k. We pay some of their benefits. We pay them good wages. I think for what we do, we don't have anybody making under $13 an hour. We have people make up closer to $35 an hour. Anyway, that's not my soapbox. My soapbox is this. The stuff that Angelo is working on to diversify the economy. Casinos have always been the only game in the area as far as employment goes. I'm one of the lucky guys. I started my company. I rode the wave. I did very well from the community, from the people that are in here that have homes, and we took care of them. We took care of the businesses. But when I drive around now and I see, and I'm not talking about Atlantic City, I'm talking about our communities throughout Atlantic County. When I see the trash, the dilapidated buildings, the overgrown weeds that are 6 feet high coming out of the guardrails, you're not going to reduce crime by an environment like that. You're not going to have a booming economy with a dirty environment. It just can't happen. I know that budgets are tough. I know that there's towns on the islands that have different budgets and they can beautify their properties where some of the townships cannot. But it's an individual responsibility, it's a business responsibility. We need organizations and we need the communities to clean up their areas. and not expect the government to do that for us, because it's just not going to happen. So, I appreciate that, and I'm going to cut it short, but it sounds trivial to be worrying about weeds and trash when people have lost so many jobs, but we cannot expect businesses to thrive, and even your property values of your own home. If there's a foreclosed home, I'm not saying going after the person that lost his job and can't afford to cut his grass. I'm not saying that this man has to have, or these people in this home have to have sod and irrigation. But if it's a bank owned and it's been taken away from that man, the bank has a responsibility to keep that maintained, keep your property value up. Thank you for the opportunity.
Good evening. My name is Brother David. I go by the name Brother because I want to be everybody's brother and sister. I'm a resident from Atlantic City. My mother raised 11 children here in Atlantic City. And what I can recall was the beautiful boardwalk when I was a young man or a young boy, and the opportunities that I had. And you want to bring tourists. I've never been to Wildwood, but I heard Wildwood is almost like Atlantic City was when I was a child. One of the things I have been dealing with for the last 5 years is the youth. When I was 14, I went to work. I think that was one of the proudest moments when you have a big family that you can help out. My problem is, for the last 10 years, y'all have really forgotten about Atlantic City residents. My mother will be 90 years of age. She can't even walk the streets in Atlantic City no more because she don't feel safe. All I'm asking is to give us a chance to redo Atlantic City so we can bring tourists, because I've been in North Carolina, and when I talk about Atlantic City, they light up. I've been treated well everywhere I've been. When I tell people I'm from AC, I like that part, AC. But what I would love to see the committee do is don't forget the residents. Y'all did it for 30 years, ever since 1978 when the casinos came in. You forgot about us. I'm born and raised here. I love home. I would never turn it down. Thank you so much. God bless y'all.
Hi, my name is Missy, and I have actually a favor to ask of you guys. I'm a resident of Atlantic City, not a citizen. I'm hoping to be. This is my first town meeting. And for your consideration as well as our consideration, we have a lot of homework to do. It's not on his shoulders, it's on our shoulders. We need to be able to find ideas, and we need to be able to bring it to him. Of course they have years of experience, but this is our land, this is our towns, these are our children, these are our schools. We need to be able to contribute. Whatever little way we can contribute, we need to be able to share that. Speak to your neighbor, help your neighbor. Ask that neighbor to help another neighbor. Keep doing it until you get sick of it in your stomach. It's the only way. I mean, it's like things we grew up with. Why are we passing that by in numbers and money and all these things? We know this. And the second thing I want to concentrate on is the graduate of Stockton. There's so much value in what she said. It may sound like hocus pocus, but Vegas can't even keep water in their town. They have depleted Lake Mead. Think about that. So if we ever do all these renovations and get large as Vegas, it's possible that we could deplete our water. It sickens me. That's crazy. So maybe you should think about getting her on the committee, because that's something that's really, really important, because water goes everywhere, and we're 70% water. Your bodies are 70% water. So she's right in terms of health, so either a health person or an environmental person. The third thing is, you had mentioned an internet website. We should all go home and look to see what's on there. We have a lot of ideas and there's a lot of emotions, but we need to put those emotions into writing. Doing something about it for ourselves. That's it.
Well, thank you for being such a great closer. If I may take a few minutes, I want to thank you for being here. I get paid to be here, you don't. And you took time out of your busy schedule to be here, and I appreciate it. We had 93 people here. We've heard from 31 of you today about how to perhaps transform Atlantic City to a gaming community with a worldwide reputation, whether that is a skill game or a chance game. We want to perhaps discourage the state legislature from approving casinos in North New Jersey. Arts, culture, music, design, I think that is definitely an area that we will be looking at. Baderfield is definitely a huge asset for the community, and I believe the right opportunity for that will be to connect this region to the world. We've heard about making this plan work for the working man. We've heard about wellness. I would encourage you to talk to your friends and maybe bring about the Pritikin Center here. All about thalassotherapy. How can we turn that asset to medical tourism opportunities for your region? Creativity, innovation, opportunity for the young. It's really about the young. I'm sorry for getting emotional here. This is about their future. I'm an entrepreneur, and I think we know a little bit about incubation. I actually am the founder of the International Incubator in Austin to bring about foreign-born entrepreneurs to the U.S. We just had 50 of them at South by Southwest. There is an opportunity there to explore for many, many others. We've talked about green energy and distributed energy. If we can get anyone in this community to solve energy storage and clean tech, I think it's a great avenue to follow. The young lady who left early, I wanted to thank her for her enthusiasm every time there's a talk about billionaires investing in town. That gets my attention. And I appreciate her energy. I don't know how old she was, but I wish if I had that energy when I'm 60 years old. Crime is an issue and must be resolved and resolved locally with ideas from the local community. We've seen many places where we've done work, whether that is in New Orleans, whether that is in Tacoma, Washington, whether that is in Detroit, where there are solutions to that, and we will bring them forward. Entertainment district was mentioned as an opportunity, and definitely that is a venue that we will be looking at. It took the 13th responder here to give us input about quality of jobs. And then we've heard about quality of jobs over and over again. The need for jobs is what we're going to be looking for throughout this strategy. And one thing I will say, crime should not be an option.
Say it again.
Crime should not be an option in this community. Absolutely. So there are those of you that are gainfully employed and know of others that may provide jobs to those that don't have them. That would be a great thing to do. We heard about jobs that provide pension and healthcare, and that's something that we will definitely take in consideration. The diversification of the economy. We have to build multiple economic engines here. I don't know that the one sector economy is the way to go for looking into your future. Ecotourism, clean water, clean air, recycling. Respect for the environment is important. Pinelands has been mentioned as an extremely important issue, whether you are on the development side where you want lax regulations. In my view, there's plenty of land to develop on. There's plenty of redevelopment opportunities. I think regulations that affect the development of pinelands are not an issue for the time being and not for probably the next 5 or 10 years for your region. There's plenty of development. We talked about safety and the quality of life. I think Elizabeth talked about that, and proper economic development. Jobs lower crime, and that is very, very true. One thing that I've heard many of you say is to be positive. We have to keep moving, and that's so, so important. On the first community meeting, we had a lot of negative comments be made, and I did not hear one negative comment today. And those of you that might have heard a negative comment or two, I saw those as opportunities, not necessarily as negatives. Hard work pays off. And I'm glad to know that you're a proud mother with kids being educated abroad. That's a huge accomplishment. Faith is important in this journey, because I'm of the opinion that adversity builds resolve. Resolve brings opportunities. Opportunities will bring success. There's not a plan B here. There's not an alternative. You cannot fail. You will not fail. You will succeed. So thank you for closing as well as you have closed the meeting today. Take your responsibility. Do good. Doing good is contagious, and everyone needs that. Thank you.